This is MackTruck, aka the Princess of Pain, aka your one nightmare. This is MackTruck, aka the Princess of Pain, aka your one nightmare.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You never have to tell someone how good you are. They will know it when they see it. John Malone. Welcome in. We're back after a week off. This is a secondary edition of the MackTruck Podcast here on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever else you get your audio streaming pleasure. I am your hostess with the mostest, Mackenzie Brooks, aka Thee MackTruck, aka your worst nightmare. Like I said, we've been away for a week, had to reacclimate, had to get some things together, took a trip, but we're here for you. That was your quote of the day from Brody Malone's father, John Malone. If you don't know who Brody Malone is a fifth of the U.S. men's Olympic gymnastics team who just won bronze the past couple days at the Paris Olympics 2024. Got a lot to talk about. WNBA All-Star Weekend from 2 weekends ago, Olympic update and recap, UFC 304 recap, Clarissa Shields versus Vanessa Lepage-Janice for the light heavyweight and heavyweight boxing championships for the WBC and the WBO, as well as the recap for the WFA championship weekend down in the Hall of Fame stadium that is Canton, Ohio. This broadcast is brought to you by yourselves, the listeners, the supporters. Also brought to you by Chopping It Up with P. Scott, Prescott Kelly. Also found on Spotify, Facebook Live, and wherever else you get your audio and viewing streaming pleasure. The Three Man Weave podcast by Evan Bradfield, Caleb Bradfield, and Big D Money himself, also found on Zoom, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and wherever else you get your audio streaming pleasure. Also brought to you by the 806 Sports Radio Show in Texas with Megan Price, co-hosted and hosted by Megan Price. Also brought to you by The Sip Off, again, also co-hosted and hosted by Megan Price herself. Also brought to you by the Rock the Bells podcast, featuring Rocco Rock on Spotify. And obviously, we can't have a broadcast without sponsors. Truth Barbering Shop, 6563 University Avenue, Windsor Heights, Iowa. Make sure you're hitting up Gary Duke Williams and Chris Fatts, the Barber Dixon, for your beard and barbering maintenance. Also brought to you by Patent That Whiskey, the official alcohol and business partner sponsor of the MackTruck Podcast and the Three Man Weave podcast, as well as the In My Bag Apparel customs and line of clothing by none other than Evan Bradfield. Like I said, we've been gone for a week, y'all. We have been gone for a week, and it's been a long one, but a good one. I'll tell you that right now. But let me just get into this by stating, for those of you who know me as a person and me as an athlete, y'all know how much I love football, okay? Y'all know how much I love my team. Well, that is the Nebraska Pride. Y'all know how much I love my Dallas Cowboys as far as the NFL. I have a huge bone to pick with the WFA. That is the Women's Football Alliance, which is the semi-pro / professional entity of women's tackle football that you'll find here in the United States. And let me just preface my comments by saying this. I mean no disrespect or harm. I'm simply a player, an athlete, a fan of my own team, considering I didn't get to play this season. And, no, that's neither here nor there. Fact of the matter is, if you guys follow the WFA and the things that they put out on social media, you'll know that there is a series called The Road to Canton. The Road to Canton is very similar to Hard Knocks for the NFL in season or preseason or out of season rather, considering the road or the Hard Knocks series has just started an off season chapter or sector of their show with the New York Giants. Furthermore, the Road to Canton is very similar to that. So the Road to Canton covers some of the top teams, and they follow a lot of teams throughout the season to see which teams from which divisions are going to make said championship weekend down in Canton that we just had this past weekend. Now, outside of my bias, because I am a player, I am a fan, and I am a supporter of the Nebraska Pride. If you are going to hold an educational show or series about the teams in your league, it's probably very fucking prevalent that you, I don't know, do research on the teams that you're reporting about. Perfect example. The Road to Canton, and this is just a short list of things that I noticed personally after actually having a chance to go back and rewatch and re-listen to some of the episodes. First of all, I don't give a damn who's listening to this. I don't give a damn who thinks they run some shit. I'm going to tell you this right now on my show, on my broadcast. And if you don't like it, you can take it up with me. You can take it up with Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy. I don't give a shit. You need to do your research before you start just running your mouth about stuff that you don't know. Or maybe like, I don't know, set aside time to like watch film on the teams. Specifically, my own team. We had issues such as, oh, the offense has been carrying their team all season and naming players that either left during the middle of the season or no longer play, et cetera, et cetera. Point of the matter is how are you going to put in effort to do research and thorough research on teams out or inside the league during the entire season? But when it comes to the Nebraska Pride, y'all decide y'all was going to drop the fucking ball. Y'all was going to drop the ball and just spew out whatever crap came to your mind. Mind you, the part of the team of folks that did this are a part of another organization in the pro division of the WFA. I'm not going to name teams. I'm not going to name names, but if you follow the series, everybody will know who exactly I'm talking about. And I don't give a damn that I'm cussing because this has actually pissed me off to a point to where I need to cuss and need to get it out. So if you don't like it, stop listening to the cast. If you don't like it, leave a comment and give me the feedback. Point of the matter is that if you're going to do a series about teams in the league, it's prevalent that you know the teams that you are doing research and reporting on. Like, perfect example, the defense isn't top 10. The defense isn't top. The defense hasn't been top for years. First of all, I play on the defense. Number one, I didn't get to play this year, but I'll tell you this, the defense, even without me, is fire. The defense with me, even better, obviously, because I'm biased and I'm a fan of myself. But do your research on the teams first. Don't just sit there and talk about some A, B, C, and D. But it's okay. And this quote is directly from a teammate of mine. And I debated about letting this person's name out, and I'm going to because I have already spoken to that person and let them know. These quotes and sonnets, rather, are from And Bennett, defensive player for the D2 championship team of the Nebraska Pride. For those of you who don't know, the Nebraska Pride are in its second full season as an installment of WFA football. Have never been D3. We were not D3 last year in our first installment, ain't D3 now. In fact, we're the D2 champions, and by WFA standards, we're supposed to be moved up to D1. So don't go and backtrack because you got me on lock here on this podcast right now. So say what you want, because if you backtrack, you're going to look stupid. So you better watch it, sis. Last year, made it to the American Conference Championship and lost to Oklahoma City 24-6. This year, going into 2024, the league, and rightfully so, gave the Nebraska Pride a predominantly D3 schedule with 2 D1 teams. And if you know anything about installments of Nebraska women's football, you'll understand that historically speaking, Nebraska women's football has not lasted longer than 2 seasons of installment. Some teams didn't even have a second season of installment. Just to give you a little bit of background, preface, whatever you want to call it. Fact of the matter is that the Nebraska Pride will be going into their 3rd season, and according to WFA bylaws and such, we should be moving into D1. Point of the matter is, a third of the points scored by the Nebraska Pride this season were strictly defensive touchdowns, with a score margin of 307 points, taken rather from other teams, to 45 given by the defense as far as, passes, runs, things like that. And a quote from Ange Bennett: "Just say you slept on us, never watched any of our film except the Minnesota Vixen game." And that part of that quote is very, very important. Because again, if you follow the series and you follow the league, you know who does the main commentary for the Road to Canton series for the WFA. I'm going to say this right now. The individual that does that or has been appointed, I have completely lost respect for. I used to have all the respect for that individual in the world. Currently, I don't. Bullshit. Crap. Do your research. Do better. You're supposed to be a professional. Do your research on the teams that you're speaking about. It's not that fucking hard. Like I said, if you don't like that I'm cussing, I don't give a damn. My show, my broadcast, go pick some cotton or grab some sugar cane off the farm if you don't like the shit, frankly. Very raw at this point. Very protective of my team. Very protective of women's sports in general. So for you to sit here and slack on the fact that you ain't do your fucking research is a you problem, not a me problem. I tried to warn y'all, it's going to get a little fiery in here. So for the individual that does the commentary on the Road to Canton series, this one's for you, sis. Absolutely crap. Moving back into football, though. The weekend overall down in Canton, Ohio at the Hall of Fame Stadium, absolutely phenomenal. Very first time I've been there as a fan, as an association of the team, whatever you want to call it. The experience overall was great. The WFA put on a wonderful event. That is the only faux pas I have in terms of the WFA is the individuals that they have doing the Road to Canton show. Fix it, sis. Do better. Absolutely do better. Getting into some recap here for the WFA Championship Weekend. D3, your Division III championship holders are the Cincinnati Cougars. The home state team for D3, Cincinnati Cougars, they get this one at home in the Hall of Fame Stadium, 48-26 over the New Mexico Bonitas. And I'm going to tell you this, I got to sit in the stands with some of the teams after the games and such. I spoke with some of the Bonitas and watched the game in its entirety. Y'all missed out on a great weekend. Y'all missed out. Events galore, sightseeing galore, museum tours, just the whole night. Y'all missed out on an entire weekend. But that's what next season is for. Moving into D1 Pro League here. The St. Louis Slam get the job done in a tight game. 30-27 over the Boston Renegades. And for those of you who follow the WFA, follow your respective women's teams in the area that you live in. The Boston Renegades, Pittsburgh Passion, Minnesota Vixen, those types of teams have been dominant and have been very dominant for a long, long time. The St. Louis Slam have reclaimed their dominance. The St. Louis Slam have been dominant for a long time. They took a year off because of COVID, took a year off, regrouped the team, got everything together, and now they are D1 Pro champions. That's a thing. So for those of you who want to sit here and try to tell me that women's professional football or women's football isn't at a high level, you don't watch the damn sport. I encourage you to watch the sport. Because everything I saw this weekend and everything casual fans saw this weekend, and if you were watching ESPN2, like we had been promoting, and like the league had been promoting, you would know. That's a you problem, not a me problem if you missed out. All-Star Game stats, national All-Americans versus the American League All-Americans. National team got it done 22-8. Little bit of a big deficit. I missed a little bit of that game, and that's okay. You know, like I said, we're here to promote sports and women's sports at a high level. So if you're not paying attention, it ain't my fault. That's a you thing, sis. Moving on, obviously, into the game that I care about most, because this, again, my show, my broadcast. If you don't like it, I don't give a damn. Go grill a grilled cheese on the Blackstone. I don't give a damn. Your Nebraska Pride are the D2 national champions, beating the West Palm Beach Coyotes 32-6 handily. And I'm going to say this, and because we're still speaking about this topic, and because I'm obviously charged up, I'm going to defend my team. I'm going to be excited. I'm going to be up and down with them, without them. I'm going to defend my team. I spoke to some of the Coyotes after the game, you know, after we had the team thing, trophy ceremony, all that. a good percentage of the Coyotes team was like, we didn't expect y'all to be that good. Of course you don't, because nobody ever expects anybody outside of St. Louis, Minnesota, the powerhouses of the Midwest, to do damage. Y'all learned today, didn't you, sisses? Y'all learned today. Rather, y'all learned this weekend.
Oh.
I hate that for y'all. I really do. But I also love that for y'all because it's growing the sport. And there was a little bit of tip going on in the stands for those of you who was around me, who was there. Had a little bit of an issue with some of the West Palm Beach Coyote fan base. And I'm not afraid to say it because I'm not scared of nobody, number one. Number two, this is my platform and this is how we get the word out. And myself included. And I'm going to just let y'all in a preface. If I say something, myself, I am included in such a preface. I am included in such comments that I say statements. So don't think that I'm above anybody. I'm not above myself. There's always room for growth and improvement. But when I get a bag pitched at the back of my head because you was upset about a team that just beat your team, that's bad sportsmanship. And ironically enough, I ran into the individual who pitched the bag at me and quote unquote stated that they were throwing it on the field because it had a different team's name on it. No, sis, you were salty and it's okay. I've been there. I'm the queen of salt. I promise you. You're not telling me nothing I don't know. Fact of the matter is, let's be better. Both of us, you, me, let's be better about this whole entire thing. Fact of the matter is that people have to watch the game to understand what's going on. That includes the people that run the road to Canton. So for future references, let's make sure that we're doing research on the team. Let's make sure in the weeks and games prior to playoffs and to championship weekend that we're getting accurate information, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to end up having a bunch of bad reviews about your series, because that could be very detrimental to your series. People won't tune in. I mean, obviously you're going to have those loyalties, those fans that are going to be like, oh, the road cannon, blah, 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 blah. No, sis, do better. Tell your commentary to do its fucking research. I'm so sick of this. Like, I have had multiple conversations with my teammates, with coaches, especially coaches in particular, that have just like, why do these people not understand? I said, because people only want to understand things that they want to understand. They don't want to see things from the outside until they get smacked in the mouth. It's a fact. But it's okay though. You know, that's neither here nor there. Fact of the matter is your Nebraska Pride are D2 champions and we on a high right now. This is something that has been talked about in the realm of a Midwestern women's tackle football for as long as I have been playing. And I've been playing since 2010. So if that told you anything, 2025 will be my 15th and final season, an actual final season of football on a professional level. It really agitates the crap out of me when people be like, oh, I know the sport, or I'm good enough to commentate and do this. Obviously you're not, sis, because if you were good enough at it and if you knew the sport, you would do your research. Lots, and in fact, not even lots, 97% of the generalized population when it comes to commentating, podcasting, broadcasting, TV showing, radio showing, whatever you want to call this thing that we're doing right now here in this time space continuum that is 2024 in the middle of July, in the hottest days of July, mind you, you would do your research. And the fact that y'all drop the ball is a you thing. And I will call you out every single time, just like I expect y'all to call me out or anybody else out, because we trying to be called up. No, not even called out. We're trying to be called up. We need to be better, myself included. Like I said, I don't just come on here and blab if I wasn't a part of said call. Fact of the matter is, we're going to get into it here. I'm excited. Got a lot to go on. I'm pumped. Again, going to be talking about UFC 304 recap, Olympic update recap. We already did the WFA championship recap, road to Canton issue. Now, we're going to get into some fun stuff here. Starting with, obviously, the community events going on. August 24th, 2024, community kickback here in Des Moines, presented to you by the 84 Fresh Squad and In My Bag Apparel and Customs. 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Again, that is August 24th, 2024. $30 for an outdoor table, $50 for an indoor table. If you are a vendor or a small business and you are wanting to get in on the event, get your name out there. Music, food, jewelry, clothing, artists, barbers, games, and anything else that you can think of. Make sure you tap in with at @inmy_bag 2023 or at the word 80, the number 4, and fresh on Instagram, or visit the 84 Fresh location at 8801 University Avenue in Clive, Iowa. Spots are filling up, y'all. So if you want to be a part of it with your business or your entity, make sure you're hitting those two businesses up. Make sure you're hitting Evan Bradfield up for those table spots. Make sure you're hitting up the 84 Fresh crew on Instagram, both In My Bag Apparel and 84 Fresh on Instagram. Also, the second edition of the Sports Card Showcase presented by hashtag the Card Traffickers with a Z. We did this event at the very top of the summer in June. Again, held 480 Bass Pro Lane Northwest, or the Hyatt Place Hotel in Altoona, Iowa. Again, September 6th and 7th. September 6th, which is a Friday, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and September 7th, that Saturday, the day following, 10 a.m. to 5 and or 6 p.m. provided. Obviously, the MackTruck Podcast crew will be there. In My Bag Apparel and Customs will be there, and Patton That Whiskey will also be there at such a thing. I'm excited for this. Listen, I don't think y'all really understand how pumped I am to be in such an entity. Like, I'm here for it, frankly. And that's okay. If you're not for it, it ain't for you. If you're not an event community type of person, it is what it is. But if you are and you're looking for something new, I highly suggest you be at both of these. We will be at both of these. The MackTruck Squad, In My Bag Apparel, and Customs will be there at both events. Two main attractions and sponsors of both events here. Make sure you're tapping in. Make sure you're hitting us up for questions, comments, concerns, inquiries, whatever you got. Make sure you're hitting up 84 Fresh on Instagram and In My Bag Apparel on Instagram as well. If you got inquiries or questions about the Sports Card Showcase, again, literally on Instagram, hashtag the Card Traffickers with a Z, no S, because we don't do things normally here. Also, again, brought to you by Patton That Whiskey, Daniel and Jennifer Patton, exotic blend of whiskey, double aged in a wine barrel and then a whiskey barrel. Listen, every time I do this podcast, y'all, I'm sipping on it. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. And of course, we gotta stay hydrated with the water. Got the whiskey, got the water, double W's. We out here. Next on the topic of dockets, Olympic update. And I'm gonna tell you this. I'm excited. I am excited for this. We got so much to just talk about in terms of the WNBA All-Star Weekend, Olympic update. We got a smorgasbord. We've been off for a little bit, so we're gonna let y'all in right now. WNBA All-Star Weekend. For those of you who missed it, and this was just about 2 weeks ago. Like I said, we took a week off to prepare for our weekend trip, type of thing, to the WFA Championship Weekend. Prior to such a weekend, WNBA had their All-Star break. Alicia Gray becomes the first WNBA player to win the skills competition and the three-point contest in one weekend. No other WNBA player has done it. I watched the entire weekend, watched the All-Star game versus Team USA. Alicia Gray did the damn thing. And Team WNBA also did the damn thing. Listen, if you didn't watch, you missed out. You missed out on a great product. It was quite wonderful. I mean, Team WNBA beat Team USA 117-109. B. Stu, Brianna Stewart, 31 points, 10 for 21 from the field, 75% from the free throw line at 8 for 9. Arike Agobawale, 34 points, 10 for 20 from the field, 6 for 7 at 75% from the free throw line. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Again, if y'all watched the game in the weekend, you know what happened. Arike did not score a single point until the second half of the game. I'm going to tell you that right now. Rebounds. Brianna Stewart, again, 10 rebounds, 9 defensive rebounds, 1 O board. Angel Reese, 11 rebounds total, 6 defensive boards, 5 offensive boards. And obviously, you literally can't have a stat line without Caitlin Clark. I mean, y'all can call me biased or whatever you want to do. Listen. Look, Caitlin Clark is the assist queen. I don't care what you say. I don't give a damn if she's a rookie. It's a fact. Almost every single shot or every other shot that Arike Ogunbowale took was accompanied by a Caitlin Clark pass, prior, after, before. I don't give a damn. Caitlin Clark had 10 assists, which almost beat Sue Bird's All-Star assist record, mind you. Sue Bird has 11. Caitlin Clark currently has 10. Next year, when Caitlin Clark either is selected for the quote-unquote next round of WNBA stars to make Team USA, or just the WNBA All-Star team, I'm going to tell you she's going to break that record next season. And she was, like I said, she was 2 assists away from breaking it. 10 assists, 2 turnovers total, played 26 minutes. And of course, that girl that is Kelsey Plum, 6 assists, 2 turnovers, 13 minutes. Listen, some of y'all just don't understand, like, the literal, and it's not even hype. It would be different if this were something that were fizzling. The attention that the WNBA team, Team USA, men's and women's basketball are getting right now is real. And it's going to stay real, especially because we still haven't even hit the halfway mark of the Olympics. That's the scary part. As I'm talking to you right now at 2,329 hours on Tuesday, July 30th, we ain't even hit the halfway point, at least in the States. In Paris, they add 8 hours ahead of us. Fact of the matter is, the young guns got the job done. The young guns, that were on Team WNBA versus Team USA. Just because you have USA across your chest doesn't mean you're invincible to everybody. You're invincible to everybody that's not in the US. Let's just backtrack on that just a little bit. You're invincible to everybody that's not in the US or doesn't play in the WNBA or NBA for that matter. Team stats here for this WNBA All-Star Weekend recap here. Team USA, field goal percentage, 51%, 36% from the three-point line, 94% from the free throw line, and 43 rebounds total for Team USA. Team WNBA, 50% from the field, 33% from the three-point line, 85% from the free throw line, and 38 rebounds. And people want to be like, oh, Arike is the only reason they won. No. Listen, if you watched the game, it almost felt like Team USA was just like, oh, this is just a tune-up game. No, like, Team WNBA has bragging rights on y'all now. I don't know if y'all know that. I don't know if y'all understand that. It's a fact. Point of the matter is, it was a great game. DT dropping dimes. B-Stu dropping dimes. Brittany Griner just out here grabbing rebounds from the basket off the glass and just tipping them in. Okay, listen, like, the game and weekend itself in terms of WNBA All-Star Weekend is nothing to snuff at. Some of y'all talking about y'all know both sides of the sport. You don't. Because if you did, you'd be having conversations with those other people about WNBA All-Star Weekend. But let's just, we're going to keep it moving because we're not going to do all the extra stuff. Moving in to the next topic here on the MackTruck Podcast. Olympic recap and update. Also, all this information is brought to you from a mixture of ESPN, NPR News, and theathletic.com. For those of you who have been following the Olympics since the opening ceremonies, LeBron James and Coco Gauff were the male and female flag bearers for the United States. Simone Biles is now the first woman to land the Euro double pike, Yurchenko rather, double pike, or better known as the Biles too. That's how I know it as. I don't know a lot about gymnastics, but I know a little bit. Dominique Dawes was my favorite gymnast growing up. Simone Biles is my favorite gymnast currently, along with Gabby Douglas, along with Shawn Johnson East, along with Nastia Lukin, along with Ali Raisman, and Lauren Hernandez. Listen, I'm an old school Olympian in terms of fandom, but the team that we have right now in terms of gymnastics, women, fire. She's the first, like I said, Simone Biles is the first one to land the double pike, the Yurchenko double pike, or the Biles 2 in an Olympic Games. It's been landed in every other format but the Olympic Games up until this point in time as it stands right now. Also, Team USA men's gymnastics got the damn job done and got back on the podium, earning all-around team bronze in the finals last night. It's the first team medal for Team USA men's gymnastics since 2008. It's 2024. That's 16 years? Crazy. And it was all on the anchor's shoulders of Steven Nezaronic, who, seemingly enough, just scorched everybody, including his own teammates, on the pommel horse. I watched that thing. I watched the replay and I watched it live as it was happening. It's still mind blown. Still mind blown. And I cannot remember the exact quote that Steven gave at the end of the medal ceremony, at the end of the victory ceremony for the top three, as they normally do per each Olympiad. But in a nutshell, Mr. Nezaronic stated that it's okay to be nerdy and wear glasses and still be the anchor and be Superman. Listen, like any young kid who feels like they're a nerd or feels like they don't have anybody, who had watched that interview and watched that performance that Team USA men's gymnastics put on, is got to be inspired, because I'm inspired right now just talking about it. I'll tell you that right now. It's crazy. It's crazy the type of motivation and just uplifting spirit you have by just watching the Olympics. And frankly, to me, personally, I don't care what country or what sport I'm watching. I may not understand the sport. I may not, know a lot about it. But the fact of the matter is that there's athletes, collegiate athletes, professional athletes, first-time athletes that are in these Olympiad games and kicking ass, and handily so. Mind-blowing. Listen, just mind-blowing. Moving on to more news here from the Olympic front. USA women's basketball smashes Japan in the opening game, 102-76. This was a rematch of the, I believe, 2022 or 2020 games rather from COVID. Championship medal game, gold medal game. As it stands right now, as we're doing this podcast, I know they have played or are getting ready to play a secondary game in such an effect. But they are 1-0, they being Team USA women, and the men are also currently 1-0 as I'm speaking to y'all right now. Beating Serbia 110-84. Kevin Durant was activated after the calf injury that he acquired during the tune-up games and during the exhibition games before the opening ceremonies and start of the Olympic Games as we speak. And a first in Team USA women's rugby history, first medal in rugby sevens versus Australia. Team USA women's rugby sevens gets the bronze. And I watched that game live as well. Lord have mercy. I thought I tackled hard. Listen, Team USA, just not even Team USA, but rugby players in general, you gotta have some kind of extra aggression to be hitting people without pads. I mean, I'm for it. I fight MMA, kickbox. I'll tussle with you any day. Rugby has been something that I have always wanted to do, and still to this day. But I'm just like, how y'all just keep getting slammed like that and just keep moving on? But you gotta have another type of gear to play rugby. And frankly, I'm for it. So big shout out to really just Team USA Olympic sports in general. Literally Team USA Olympic sports in general. And obviously the biggest news coming out of so far outside of the men's gymnastics team finally medaling since 2008. Team USA women clinch team gold, which makes it 3 out of the 4 Olympic games for summer that they have gotten Olympic gold in. This is the medal count for the games as it stands, as I'm talking to you right now. It's 2,300 hours and 37 minutes on Tuesday, July 30th, 2024. Top 6 teams here. Medal count. Japan, 7 gold, 2 silver, 4 bronze, 13 medals total. China, 6 gold, 6 silver, 2 bronze, 14 medals total. Australia, number 3, 6 gold, 4 silver, 1 bronze at 11. France, the home country, 5 gold, 9 silver, 4 bronze with a total of 18 medals. And the United States, currently at number 6 with only 4 gold medals, 11 silver, 11 bronze, and 26 medals total. So technically, the United States is in first place in terms of medal count, but they are in 6th place in terms of silver and gold medal count. So we'll look forward to more Olympic news in the days to come. I'm for it, frankly. If anybody who knows me knows how incredibly diehard of a fan or athlete, whatever you want to call me, I am in terms of the Olympic Games. I had a dream. I still have dreams. I'm not going to display those dreams out here because dreams don't come true. If you keep talking about it, you got to be about it. So we're just going to keep that under wraps for now. As we move into the next part of the docket, that is UFC 304 recap brought to you by ESPN.com. Starting out with the main card here. Arnold Almighty Allen in the featherweight division versus Giga Chikadze. Arnold Allen is now 23-0 with a unanimous decision over Chikadze. Listen, I was so glad I was able to get this fight and watch it fully. Sometime soon, Arnold Allen has to get another featherweight title shot. I don't know what else has to happen for the front office of the UFC pound for pound rankings, Dana White, his administration. Something needs to happen soon, because if Arnold Allen just keeps flying through the rest of these heavyweights, he's gonna end up as a top 3, 4, 5 contender. And frankly, after beating Chikadze, I don't see how he doesn't. Like I said, Arnold Allen is now 20 wins, 3 losses, 0 no contest. Chikadze is now 15-4-0 with the loss by unanimous decision to Arnold Allen. This fight was good. Like, I honestly, I think it could have gone either way. I just think Arnold Allen puts out that much volume in terms of stances, moves. He's constantly switching, constantly moving around. Just like my coaches always tell me, it's hard to hit a moving target. It is hard to keep pace with a moving target. It's easier to keep pace with somebody or something that is stationary rather than somebody that's moving. Because if you have to move with them, that means you are using your energy to try to keep up with their energy and tempo. Is a thing. It's the same thing with any other sport any other team sport that could be individualized. But any team sport, it is hard to hit a moving target. That's also why American football is one of the hardest sports to comprehend. It is hard to hit a moving target, but Arnold Allen is one of those people who is very good at hitting moving targets, and rightfully so. He has been the moving target. He has lost before. It is what it is. Moving on into the next fight on this main card here for Leon Edwards, Belal Muhammad 2 for the welterweight championship belt. In the middleweight division, Christian Leroy Duncan versus Gregory Rodriguez out of Brazil. CLD loses by unanimous decision to Gregory Rodriguez. In the lightweight division again, CLD is now 10-2-0. Mr. Rodriguez 16-5-0. And frankly, again, I watched 99% of this main card. I don't know how anybody could have given it to CLD, that is Christian Leroy Duncan. He put up a good fight. He just didn't put up that much volume. There was no way that I personally, if I were a referee, I don't think I could have given him any round. I might have given him the second round, maybe. But even then, with the takedowns and the punch output that Rodriguez was putting, there was no way that I could give Duncan the advantage in terms of that. Moving into the next fight on this card, and I'm gonna tell you this right now. For anybody that has spoken to me or had conversations with me personally about how I feel about these next two fighters in King Green, or formerly known as King Bobby Green, and Paddy the Batty Pimblett. This fight has been brewing for a long time. Again, if you're into the sport, you know the sport, you're an athlete, whatever, in whatever capacity you follow, may in the UFC. If you follow it, you watch you watch Countdown, you watch Embedded, you watch whichever vlog series King Green has at the time. You're watching the Chat and Pony, listening to the Chat and Pony with Paddy Pimblett. Bobby Green, personally, and I will stand on this hill. I stand on business when it comes to this. I am not a fan of Bobby Green, or King Green rather. Let me be correct. I am not a fan of King Green. I am a fan of how tenacious he can be. I am a fan of his demeanor. I am not a fan of all the mouth talking, mouth breathing that he is. I'm not a fan. No, shut the fuck up and fight. That's how I personally feel. And I know a lot of people tell me to shut up and do whatever. That's how I feel right now. Bobby Green talked himself into a submission. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Paddy Pimblett with a submission. 1 minute, or first round, 3 minutes and 22 seconds into the first round, by triangle choke. Paddy Pimblett with the cornrows, with the Scouser attitude. Listen, I always go for the underdog. I don't care what anybody say. I don't give a damn if it's Donald Trump. I don't give a damn if it's Kamala Harris. I don't give a damn if it's a box of little Debbie cakes. I don't give a damn if it's Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy trying to figure out what type of chicken sandwich they're gonna have for dinner. Okay? Fact of the matter is, 97% of the time, I'm gonna go for the underdog. Paddy Pimblett, because of not so much how fresh he is, because he's got 26 fights, 25 fights in the UFC alone, or on pro record alone, rather. King Green, who has been around the block, King Green is still the dominant force. I just can't stand his attitude. But then again, lots of people can't stand my attitude. So it is what it is. Like I said, King Green talked himself into a triangle choke. Paddy Pimblett was telling everybody, like, I am not scared of him. And the other thing for me, watching this King Green and Batty fight, listen, King Green, like, why you shooting? Why was that the first thing you do to shoot? You should have already, if you did your research, you would have seen and you would have known, if you watched the film, don't take the first shot on Paddy Pimblett. Don't take the first takedown attempt on Paddy Pimblett, because see where that got you? In a triangle choke and out the fight. Like, honestly, sis, you was almost lights out when he had you in the triangle choke the very first time. He grabbed your arm and then you were toast. I mean, I don't know. Like, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of bad reviews and all this other stuff. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Don't get caught. Don't write checks that your mouth can't cash. I don't know how many times as a lesson that's been for me. And I'm just keeping a buck 100 right there with you. Moving into the co-main event for Edwards Muhammad 2. Co-main event, interim heavyweight championship. And we're gonna, once we get through the results of this, we're gonna go through the other crap in terms of the heavyweight title. Oh my goodness. Listen, Tom Aspinall. Listen, Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blades fight did not disappoint if you were pro Aspinall. It disappointed a little bit if you were Curtis Blades. Personally, I think it was a little bit of a early stoppage, but Tom Aspinall is that dude. Tom Aspinall needs to just be the unified heavyweight champion, because John Jones just got in trouble for battery or some wild ass shit. And like I said, excuse or part of my profanity if you ain't for it, but that's how I express things. Fact of the matter is, Tom Aspinall got the job done against Curtis Blades, who is a very respected heavyweight. Look, let's not get it twisted. Curtis Blades is also him. He just wasn't him on Saturday night. Curtis Blades is now 18-5-0. Tom Aspinall 15-3-0. Round 1, 1 minute into round 1, TKO KO to Tom Aspinall to retain the interim heavyweight championship. My question is when is John Jones going to get it together? Literally, when is John Jones going to get it together Because people, and again, I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this. I don't give a damn. You can't be a GOAT and fight 2-3 fights in 5 years. You can't, or no, I'm not gonna say you can't. You shouldn't be able to ride on the success that you had in the past before everything. Now, with that said, things happen, life happens. It's a thing. There's not one of us, myself included, that can sit here and say that we haven't gone through something that's just made us go haywire one way or the other. We can't sit here and say that we haven't struggled with something. We can't sit here and say that we're perfect because because the realms of perfection are literally intangible. What's perfect to John Jones ain't perfect to Kobe Covington, ain't perfect to Donald Trump, ain't perfect to MackTruck, ain't perfect to Evan Thunder Bradfield, ain't perfect to P. Scott. Everybody's views of perfection are different, and the faster folk learn that or relearn that, the happier things gonna turn out to be. But I'm gonna tell you this. I heavily messed with both Curtis Blades and Tom Aspinall and frankly, I was torn. I ain't gonna hold you. I was torn. But Tom Aspinall got the job done. So I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know how long it has to be until John Jones either vacate the title or the UFC strips him of the title. Frankly, I don't think they're going to strip him because he is considered a GOAT. He is a pioneer. He has been through the ups and downs of the UFC, that type of thing. At this point, I feel like McGregor and Chandler are going to fight twice before John Jones comes back for what seems like a third or fourth time into the UFC. Crazy to me. I'm going to tell you this. We're going to move it to the main event of this card. Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad 2. Again, for those of you who follow the UFC, have followed MMA, there's a little bit of bad blood between Belal Muhammad and Leon Edwards. In the Contender series or one of the television reality series with Dana White coming into like getting, finding yourself as a MMA fighter, earning the contract to become a UFC fighter, Belal Muhammad got incidentally poked in the eye by Leon Edwards, and it has done some permanent damage to his eye, and rightfully so. I completely understand why he would have frustrations about that, but don't do too much. You did too much trying to play it up, and I get you trying to sell the fight. You trying to boost yourself up. I get that, but don't do too much, friend. Don't do too much. It was an inadvertent eye poke. There was no penalty given to Leon Edwards because of it, but the fact that motivated him to absolutely wax the floor with Leon Edwards, I can't complain. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to, I'm not going to bitch, whatever it is. Fact of the matter, Leon Edwards did not look like a champion on Saturday night. In fact, he looked like he did not feel great. So I almost wonder if weight cut was there, if the adrenaline dump was just entirely too much. And sometimes that happens. Regardless if you've had 5 fights or 55 fights, adrenaline dump is damn near the same for every person. If you watch the fight, combative sports, it's a thing. Adrenaline dump sucks. It's not great for anybody. You could be the heir to the throne that is Muhammad Ali and the Ali Walsh brothers, and it's still there. You could be Tyson Damn Fury, Tommy Fury, Vasily Lomachenko, Anthony Joshua, Clarissa Shields, who we'll get to next. Fact of the matter, adrenaline dump is a thing. Getting over it or progressing through it is the difference. It just seemed like Leon Edwards didn't do that. But the saving grace is 99% of the time, most champions that are trying to defend the belt and lose get an automatic rematch. So I would almost anticipate there's going to be a Belal Muhammad, Leon Edwards 3. And I would say in a neutral zone or somewhere close to Belal Muhammad's home country. But Belal Muhammad got the job done with unanimous decision. He is now the welterweight champion, 24-3-0 with a record. Leon Edwards, 22-4-0. And like I said, and this is no disrespect to anybody that I've mentioned on this card, on this podcast, cursorating, whatever you call it. Like I always say, anybody can rise to the occasion and fall to the occasion on any given game day, match day, fight day, fight week, whatever it is. Anybody can rise and fall to the occasion. It's how you want to maneuver it and how you feel like you're going to maneuver it. That's all I can say. That's it. But moving on into the next topic and really final topic of this reboot for the MackTruck Podcast in terms of us being gone for a week. I know y'all missed me. Clearly you can see, or hear rather, my voice is a little scratchy. I sound like Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, Pluto the dog, whatever y'all want to call it. It's because I was yelling and screaming at the WNBA Championship weekend for my team. Okay? It's okay. Just know that you can still hear me, and I'm with it. Listen, this heated up patent whiskey, okay, and the honey with the hot toddy, I'm here for it. And listen, I'll sound like Queen Latifah later on this week. Moving on into the next and final topic here on our reboot after the week. Clarissa Shields, okay, the GOAT. And it's funny to me because, and I don't know if it's just, and maybe I'm biased. I'm biased about a lot of things, but I feel like a lot of folks these days are biased about a lot of things. Clarissa Shields, rather, gets a lot of flack for being herself. It's honestly kind of agitating as hell because they're just like, oh, she needs to stop talking so much, or she's not even that good. And 90% of the time, it's coming from these average Joe dudes who sit there and eat Cheetos and scratch their mail pots with balding, receding ass hairlines that live in their family basement and don't do nothing with their life outside of going to work and trolling folk on the internet. Fact of the matter is she would whoop 90% of y'all dudes behind. She would whoop 90% of females behind. It don't matter if they're the same weight class as her or not. Fact of the matter is she is genuine to herself and she's true to the two sports that she does. Mind you, both of these sports that she does are very similar. One has hands and feet and grappling. The other one just has hands. This go around, she's now the WBO and the WBC light heavyweight and heavyweight champion of the world. Literally took on Vanessa LePage-Janice. Okay. Clarissa Shields is now 15-0 with 3 knockouts. Janice is now 22-3-1, 22 wins, 3 losses, 1 no contest. Also, again, such information is brought to you by Eric Woodyard of ESPN. This fight was held in Clarissa Shields' home state of Michigan, in Detroit, not quite Flint. She is from Flint, Michigan, but was in the state of Michigan, her home state. Lots of home pride. There's so many stars. Oh my goodness, so many stars were there. And it was so, if I would have had a third TV or monitor somewhere where I could have just watched, UFC 304, Clarissa Shields, and whatever other random sporting thing as far as the Olympics was going on, I literally could have and would have. I'm going to tell you this right now. Like, I was for it. Because I just love sports that much, and I have gotten myself to a point to where I've been able to watch 3 or 4 or 5 different monitors or TVs, whatever you listen to, radio, podcast, about 3 or 4 or 5 different sports. And I can tell you 6 or 7 different things that happen in each sport at each time. I can tell you, listen, it's just gotten that far. Fact of the matter, fight was held. Little Caesars Arena, again, in Detroit, Michigan. 3 knockdowns during the entire fight, mind you. Second round, referee calls for the stoppage. And the one clip which is ironic, the one clip that I saw on social media was the one part of the fight that I actually missed. I watched the entirety of the fight, it being short, mind you, because, we all listen to our favorite fighters, acrobats, whatever you want to call it, and listen to the predictions. But I can guarantee you, Clarissa Shields did not predict this fight to go this damn fast. I'm gonna tell you this. And she's been telling us since this fight was announced that she's going to come in there and do what she does and do it better than what everybody else thinks they can do. It's a fact. She did it. She speaks on it and she stands on business. That's what y'all don't understand is y'all want to sit here and troll and talk about she's not even good. No, she's not a true heavyweight. But in boxing, there are so many weight classes in boxing. Like, if I were just a pure boxer, I literally would be a female super heavyweight because I am over, like, I think the heavyweight is 165, 164. I'm 250-ish plus. Well, I've lost a little bit. So 230-ish, right in there. I would literally be considered a super heavyweight if I were just boxing. The fact that Clarissa Shields is dominating in both MMA and boxing and now has 5 belts in 4, 5, 6, 7 different weight classes is wild. So while y'all want to sit out here and talk your little stuff and think y'all know about the sport, y'all don't really know like you really, really know. Because if you did, you would be in a position like Clarissa Shields is in, or, Triple G, Canelo, Floyd was in, Mike Tyson, hell, even Jake Paul. Like, even Jake Paul. And I'm not the biggest fan of Jake Paul in terms of boxing. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Jake Paul, I guarantee you, would beat any average Joe and any current boxer that's not Tyson Fury, Bud Crawford, Shakur Stevenson, people of those nature. Jake Paul is that guy. Clarissa Shields is her. The GWO is her. The problem, I can't call him the problem child because he ain't a child, but the problem in Jake Paul, he got some shtick. Fact of the matter is Clarissa Shields got the deal done. I'm gonna tell you something else right now. I'm glad to be back. I might sound like Mickey Mouse right now. I got a little air behind my throat, behind my voice, but I'm for it. I am for all of this. With that being said, now that we're back in the full swing of things, getting back to our routine of pods after taking our just about second or third week off within the whole summer. Summer is a long, extended time period. But we're back. We took a week off. We getting ready to do it again. We're going to be back in a couple days with another Olympic update, another recaps. I'm excited. You're excited. If you're not excited, stop listening. Hell. If you enjoyed it, great. Give me a thumbs up. Like I said, if you don't like the cussing, I don't give a damn. That's how I express myself, just like anybody else expresses themselves when they're passionate about something. It is what it is. Fact of the matter is, this broadcast is brought to you by you, the listeners, the supporters, the haters, the naysayers, whatever you want to call it. This has been a MackTruck Podcast production broadcast podcast. Again, brought to you, Truth Barbering Shop, In My Bag Apparel and Customs, 84 Fresh, 806 Sports Radio Show, Rock the Bells Podcast, The Sip Off, Chopping It Up with P. Scott, Patting That Whiskey, and of course, CCR Webflow and Design by Camilo Rodriguez, because we don't have a broadcast and podcast without the logo, and we definitely don't have a broadcast and podcast without the stylings and lyricism of Freddie F. Morris and the Mad Noise Entertainment Squad. I'll see y'all next time around. If you don't know how to podcast, bang that follow button. And in the illustrious words of Ellen DeGeneres, be kind to one another. And finally, in the illustrious words of the great Yinza himself, Pat McAfee, be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. Goodbye.